Good evening. I'm Linda Barnes Caldwell, Councilwoman of the 5th District, and I would like to welcome you to the Finance Committee. We have present tonight Councilman Dwayne Halliburton, representing the 2nd District. Presiding President, Councilwoman Lori Latham, representing the 1st District. We have a few others that may return to the meeting. So we have 2 items on the agenda this evening. I'm standing in for Councilwoman Mary Brown of the 3rd District Finance Committee Chairperson. We have 2. CPO 2025-12, an ordinance amending authorization to the rollover of temporary inter-fund loans due between City of Gary funds for 2024, sponsored by Mayor Eddie D. Milton, Salito Green, City Controller, Eddie Milton, Mayor. Oh, I said Mayor. And the next one, CPO 2025-15, an ordinance approving salary and operating budgets for the City of Gary's Parks, Construction Fund for Jewel Parks, and Health Department Opioid Settlement Restricted Fund for calendar year 2025, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Milton, City of Gary, Salita Green, City Controller. We are blessed to have Councilman at Large Kenneth Withington with us. So we'll have the administration come up and give us an overview.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, council members and committee members. In this ordinance, we're requesting an amendment, and the amendment basically is that we have to submit to the council the rollover for the ordinance prior to December 31st. This was submitted in November, and we have since paid off additional loans. So I wanted to bring that back and adjust the loans that are outstanding for the record. And this amount is also entered in Gateway for 2024. I've also given to you the proposed schedule, and that schedule indicates what loans have been paid off and what the balances are. If you have the schedule, okay, for the schedule, if you look at the repayment for 2024 column, that indicates the loans that we have paid off for the year 2024. One is the media fund was $1 million, is $1 million that was owed prior to the repayment. We paid off $300,000 in 2024. General fund owed the encoding fund $500,000. That's completely paid off. We owe Gary Sanitary District $2.9 million. We paid $1,700,127, and the balance was paid in January, so we no longer owe anything to Gary Sanitary District. The general fund owed consolidated TIF $640,800. We paid $200,000 on that one. And parks owe wheel tax $240,329, and that was completely paid off. So we paid total for 2024, $2,247,456. We have not paid anything since we paid Gary Sanitary District in January, because at this point, we're not sure what our finances will look like with House Bill 1448. So as soon as we get an answer on that and we kind of go back and look at all of our expenses and what we have to pay, we can determine what else we'll be able to pay in terms of loans by the end of the year.
Job well done.
Controller Green,
We're trying.
how do you determine who's getting paid and when?
It depends on how much money we have, and we try to go back to the ones that were due for the longest. Some of these went back to 2006, so we tried to do those first. But in cases like the Consolidated TIF and Lakefront Development, that one we owe like $4.9 million, and we did call State Board of Accounts and ask if we could ask the council to forgive, and they said no. So we have, that one will have to be paid over a little bit longer period of time, but by 2027, they all should be paid off.
What are the consequences of not paying these loans?
Constantly getting audit findings. And we have to explain to the state now why we're not paying them off.
Does passing this ordinance and getting authorization, does it keep us from getting a finding?
It does not. It assists us in the requirement, which is that any loans that are not paid off in 18 months have to be rolled over and approved by the council. These have continued to roll, and that's the part that this is why we're getting the audit finding. So we would get an audit finding for not rolling them and an audit finding for not paying them. But in this way, we get an audit finding for not repaying them, but not for rolling them.
Rolling them over.
Right.
So, and it looks like we are still on schedule to pay these loans in 10 years?
These by 2027, so 2 more years. If we pay them as they're scheduled, 2 more years. If we don't, we have to kind of move them down and just keep paying them as we have the cash available.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, any other questions?
I'd like to note we are joined by Councilman Miles Tolliver at large. Thank you. Is that all, Ms. Green, you have for us on this one?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
Okay, so we're on our way to CPO 2025-15.
This ordinance is requesting salary and operating budgets to be approved by the council for the Gary Park Department Construction Fund, which is the fund that does pays for the renovations of the jewel parks, and also for the opiate settlement restricted grant. Attached are the budgets, and there is only an operating budget for the jewel parks. And jewel parks is requesting $5,000 in other materials, $70,000 in professional services, $50,000 in property insurance, $300,000 in contract maintenance, $10,000 in repairs to equipment, and $320,529.91 in capital outlay, a total of $755,529.91. That's the appropriations that they have left. They also have about $600,000 in POs, which comes to about $1.3 million. The revenues that are attached, and I'll just go back a little bit. When the council approved in the general fund for the jewel parks budget to be set in the general fund, it lapsed because property taxes lapse every year. So we came back before the council and asked that those appropriations be reestablished in park construction fund because that's a multi-year fund. And when we come, it will not lapse as cash. So in this case, we have $1,220,184 that has to be transferred from the general fund because that's where originally the cash was, and it'll be transferred to park construction. There is a cash balance right now, $156,616. Together, that total will be $1,376,799.81, which will cover the purchase orders as well as any other expenses that would occur in the budget that they're requesting right now. And the department head is here if you have any questions about the expenses.
Good evening, council. Did you have any questions concerning the parks budget for 2025 jewel parks renovations?
Just one question. Oh, dear Brunswick, dear Brunswick, how much money is going to the construction for that facility?
Okay, so we had our parks meeting update with our construction manager here. What I can do is get you an update from the manager and share that via email, if that's okay, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you do that for each one of us for our districts?
Of course.
Okay.
The plan to, I guess I have the professional services, the $70,000. Is anywhere in this budget I know we have a construction manager, but do we have a project manager for the
No, we just have, for now, we just have a construction manager, but we did have conversation with him concerning a site plan for each one of the jewel parks. Whereas when we hire the contractors on, then they can work from that site plan. And myself, as well as my assistant, can go out on weekly meetings to meet the project manager and discuss and actually view what's being accomplished.
I think I mentioned this in the committee meeting, and I just want to further emphasize it, that I think investing in the planning, whoever does it, I would highly suggest like a landscape architect or engineer to produce plans that can then inform your construction and your contractors and specifications and a undeniable scope of work, I think would be worth the investment. We've had conversations, so I'm not saying anything that I know you don't know, but the money that we've spent so far, I don't think that we've seen the over $1 million that we've spent in the parks. And I think now would be a good time for us to change course and get more direction. And, there's a saying that you think slow, act fast. And, that encourages us to make sure that we plan and we budget and we think about these things and rethink before we act, so that we can, if we go slow now, we can go fast later.
I do agree, the 2 months that I've been here as the Parks Director, I totally agree that we need more of a plan where the contractors can go out and follow on each site, so we can finally complete each jewel park.
And as a council person, I would love to see what Glen Ryan is going to look like after the renovations, and have something that I can even share on social media and with my constituents. Like, this is where your money went.
I do agree, and I will take all of what you said in consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you.
Madam Chair, we also have the budget for the opioid settlement restricted. This budget originally appeared in the previous special revenues. It was removed and included for reconsideration in this ordinance. The revision for this budget is to add a project manager for $70,000. And it includes a total personnel cost of $113,245 with payroll taxes, $175,000 for professional services, $5,000 for printing, $25,000 for advertising, $5,000 for current charges, and $15,921 for other building. The total is $339,166. For the revenues, we expect $423,877,000 this year. The rollover amount is $766,860. The total would be $1,190,737,000 available. And the department head is here with any questions that you may need answered regarding the budget.
I'm still talking about the project manager, that position, and I'm still talking about the footprint of Edgewater, because everything that the project manager is supposedly doing, that's some of the same things that Edgewater is doing. You all are so close to Edgewater, I don't know why you all didn't reach out and try to work with them to do this. Mental health, that's what they do. Health department, you all do health stuff. mental health, that's Edgewater. And just curious, how will you sustain that salary?
This is a settlement that we received last 2022, and we will receive 16 years of this settlement.
So the $70,000 salary will come out of that every year?
Correct.
You don't have nothing else to pay with that money besides that?
Well, it's restricted, and there's only certain things that you can do with that. So we provided organization with grants that will assist with the opiate crisis that we have in our community. And also, this person will be conducting the mental health initiative as well. Even though we are working with Edgewater in regards to the mental health, but because we had additional ARPA dollars some time ago with the last administration, this person will be over that program. We provided grants to those mental health facilities as well. So we will work hand in hand with Edgewater. Edgewater is just providing a stabilization. We're providing referrals for people that have services that may not want to attend Edgewater, and they will still be able to go to grassroots organizations in our area.
Well, like I said, I still think you're duplicating services just to do a project manager. I don't think it takes $70,000 to make sure the Narcan machine stays filled. So, any questions? Well, go ahead.
I'm not sure if this is related, but I heard the health department had to do some layoffs.
We did.
Is this gonna be you hiring someone new, or is this position gonna cover someone who's been laid off?
Help me understand your question again, I'm sorry.
No problem. And I'll try to be more clear.
Okay.
It's, current staff of the health department is about how many?
32, 35,
And you all have had to lay off how many?
2 thus far,
Oh, just two?
thus far.
Okay, so, is the person who was gonna fill this project manager position one of those two?
No.
Or, okay.
The qualifications, they have to be a licensed social worker. That's the role of this position, and no one in the health department meet the qualifications.
Okay, so you all you're gonna hire someone totally new that's not currently employed at the health department?
Correct,
Into this position?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
If we don't have any other questions or comments, we will go ahead and end the finance meeting tonight. Thank you for coming out.